welcome to this fine day. I'm Spitface, and you are listening to Bras Panties and Sports. Please welcome our host, the First Lady of Sports Talk, Cheryl Smith. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well on this beautiful day in sunny Florida.
Hey, for those of y'all in sunny Florida, now the rest of the nation, we do it well, too. And, you know, First Lady, you had preseason football. You had tennis world. You had golf world. There was a one of them, one of those martial arts, the Bellator. You know, and you know, there was a lot going on. Now, you must have been up to 2, 3 in the morning trying to sort it all out.
Especially for August. You don't have that much activity in August.
And a lot. There was a lot going on. It was a lot, and you know, we'd have a long list. But check out the music this week on Shout Out. We are featuring performances from Rosalyn. Will she find her shining star or get the cold feel of the mute button? First Lady, we're ready. What you saying?
Each week we try to figure out what is going on in the sports world, not the plays of the week, more like the players of the week. Are they trying to tell us something? So we ask, what you saying? Fly, little birdie, fly. Time keeps on slipping into the future. Time keeps on slipping into the future. So I want to fly like an eagle to the sea. Fly like an eagle, let the spirit carry me. I want to fly right into the future. The little birdie known as Serena Williams, and now she is flying far away from pro tennis and concentrate on the next phase of her life. Is Serena making her exit good for sports and the image of professional athletes? Has Serena embraced celebrity in ways that will allow her to use that celebrity more powerfully than LeBron? Will the Williams sisters made their mark on sports history and the tennis world? Does their story get enough attention by the media? Are the younger players glad they don't have to face Serena or upset because they missed their chance to play against her? Marvelous Marvin Hagler, rest in peace, Bernard Hopkins, Roy Jones Jr., and the Steve Miller Band are asking, what you saying? Serena Williams will leave tennis. Basically, she's leaving on her own terms. You know, unlike, I say, Tom Brady, no one knew except the editors of Vogue magazine. I mean, that's basically how the story came out, because they did have the exclusive story, and kudos to them for keeping it airtight. Because usually when something is announced in a story like that, it's been out already, but it was well-kept secret, well-kept secret. You know, but Serena really doesn't call it retirement. She doesn't call it retirement. She says she's evolving away from tennis. And, you know, her main reason is to grow her family. She constantly hears her daughter Olympia saying she wants to be a big sister. Please bring me a sister. So I think Serena is, you know, definitely want to make her family bigger. And she has some other things that she would like to do in life. You know, Serena's always been very classy. There's only one time that she had some issues, and that's when she had that issue when she played Osama. What's her name? I forgot the young lady's name. You remember she lost it? I think it was in the Australia Open or French. I can't remember which Open she lost, and where the referee was giving her the foot fouls and everything, and Serena lost it. But that's the only time I saw Serena wasn't classy. But for the most part, she's been very classy, and her approach to her retirement involvement was done in a classy way. I mean, she's leaving a sport that she's been there for 27 years. 27 years, and she's leaving on good terms. Is she leaving on top? No, she's not leaving on top, because, you know, she's had some issues lately. But everybody knows Serena is the GOAT in modern tennis era. Now, does the Williams sisters story get enough attention by the media? I mean, really, earlier in their careers, it did get a lot of attention because it was very remarkable that Richard Williams was able to teach two black kids from the hood, from Compton, California, the game of tennis that was predominantly played by wealthy white people. So, I mean, it got a lot of attention when they were younger. But as Serena and Venus started dominating tennis, the story did become less of a factor, which to me is not a bad thing because people now believe they belong within the tennis circle. You know, before it was like they were always an outsider because of the fact their upbringing and where they came from. But now, you know, they are the tennis circle, and so to me, the story is on the story is behind them, to be honest with you, you know, because they have been so dominating in the game of tennis that it's not a story anymore as far as, you know, their upbringing. And regarding the peers, and you heard, to be honest with, I mean, the young tennis players, I think her current peers, her age, and I just think on any given day, they would be afraid to play Serena because Serena can be the GOAT on any given days. Like I said, she's been less of the GOAT lately, but Serena can still play tennis, you know, and, you know, she's going on her farewell tour. Really, to be honest with you, it wasn't a farewell tour. She just, I mean, when she decided to leave, you know, she still has a few tournaments left. She said the U.S. Open will be her last event, and we shall see. Because, you know, everybody says they're going to retire. We all know that through Tom Brady because, you know, I think the reason why Tom Brady came back is because people put out there that he was retired. He didn't get to do it the way Serena did. Like, nobody knew she was retired. But anyway, Sabrina has embraced her celebrity status. I would not say, though, she has used her celebrity more powerful than LeBron because LeBron has conquered so many areas in life. He's a through philanthropy. Let me say that word right. Philanthropy. I can say that word. Business and entertainment. You know, Serena, to me, is actually very low profile regarding her accomplishments outside of tennis. She does have several businesses, and one of her business that she's really proud of and that she really wants to spend more time and work on is her venture capital firm named Serena Ventures. She's invested in several companies such as Tono, Impossible Foods, Noom, and ECU. ECU is like a company that invests in Africa. And her investment company is basically made up of all women until she said recently when they made their first minority hire, it was a man. But, you know, they work on they invest in companies that's to help the disadvantaged and and African Americans. So, I mean, I used to be applauded for that. But like I said, I think LeBron has used his celebrity more powerful than, say, Serena. So, but you know, we're going to miss Serena, but we're not going to miss Serena because, you know, Serena also, from my understanding, she's part owner of the Miami tournament that comes to Miami. She and her sister are invested in that tournament. So, you know, Serena's going to be around tennis for many, many years to come, and especially when her daughter becomes the next Serena Williams, because I guarantee you Olympia is going to be playing tennis later on. All right, Spitface, what do you feel about Serena?
I'm just heartbroken. But you know, and it has been a long ride. You know, you think about it. You know, like you said, it's been 27 years. She ain't a teenager no more. You know, by any stretch of the imagination. You know, and what I really like is that she's not on top in the sense of being the number one, number two player, but she's still a top player. And as you said, in any given tournament, it can be hers. So that's still truly competitive. And I love it when an athlete doesn't let their, I say, rankings diminish to the point where people like, will you please retire? Right. Please retire. Come on. Because it kind of takes away, Muhammad Ali should have not had that last fight. But, hey, Muhammad Ali, there's so many other things. But, yeah, and other players, where you go, wait, y'all need it. And I can't say it happens more with male or female athletes. Because I don't know. But we've seen it where it's just been, come on, it's time to go, get out, And I'm glad that she exited where people will like, wow, we get you leaving, and we could see you play another year, But now I'm gonna get out right now, and I think the other thing is that something that you started doing as a young person that evolved into a professional career is not a life sentence. So that's the only thing you're gonna do in life, or the biggest accomplishments you're gonna have are from that from that route. Life can allow you to have all sorts of and that can be one of them. So I'm just happy to see that. That today that opportunity exists, and I'm happy that Serena has that opportunity, because she certainly has earned it in every stretch. But the book is not written. That's not the end of the book on Serena Williams. That might be the end of several chapters of Serena Williams. But what's remaining, we don't know. She could end up being president, and there have been professional athletes who have switched, who became, went into politics, and some of them, ended up being senators. So now I ain't talking about Herschel Walker, y'all. All right, let me be straight. This is not an endorsement for Herschel Walker. I just want to make sure y'all know that right now. I'm not the ones who were successful became, senators and stuff. They had at least some common ass sense. 3 outside women and another wife. Herschel and his Rolling Stone, but okay. But let me get off of that. But now, I think that there are some younger players who dreamed, that one day they would get to play Serena. And while, and I'm talking about the ones who are in the pros today, and they're like, man, you know what? It's not a matter of I beat Serena. It's I got to play against Serena. I got to, you get to play against your hero. Somebody, that's a cool thing in life. So I think that there's some players who, now as far as like from a skill level, I think a bunch of them are like, man, I didn't want to play her back then. I don't want to play her now. Yeah, right. She done lost a step. No, right. No. So I think that goes both ways. But I think there are a lot of players who. She is their idol. She's the one that they model themselves after, and they wanted to play her just to say they did that. So I'm sure that there's some younger players who are a little bit heartbroken. I think that her career has been a testament for professional athletes of all sports. There's a way to do it. And, as imperfect as we can be, You know, she demonstrated that she was striving for that level. So, a tip of the hat, Serena. We will miss you on the court. And how much is stock in that company you got, baby? Get in while it's getting good. That's all I'm saying, First Lady.
Yeah, I really wish Serena would publicize more of her philanthropic endeavors. You know, you always do hear more about LeBron's, but I know Serena does. I know she has a good heart, but I wish you would hear more about it. And another thing, too, I wish she didn't retire at the end of the U.S. Open, because I wish she would go on one more farewell tour. She really didn't, to me. That was like a half-hearted farewell tour, because she, you know, the article came out and then she decided that's the point that she was going to do it. But, you know, she didn't participate in the Australian Open nor the French Open last year. She only did Wimbledon, and she's doing the U.S. So that's why I would love for her to just say, let me do it, let's finish the Grand Slams, and then I will retire. That's how I feel she should do. But anyway, we love you, Serena, and whatever you choose to do, we will support it. All right, over to you, Spitface.
All right, don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years, rocking my peers and putting suckers in fear, making the tears rain down like a monsoon. Listen to the bass go, boom. Explosion, overpowering over the competition, I'm towering. Wrecking shop when I drop these lyrics that'll make you call the cops. Don't you dare stare, you better move. Don't ever compare me to the rest that'll all get sliced and diced. Competition paying a price. I'm gonna knock you out, huh? Mama said knock you out, huh? We are talking about the knockout punch to Fernando Tatis of the San Diego Padres after getting an 80-game suspension. Whew. He will miss the remainder of the season, including the playoffs. He will miss almost half of next season. He will lose millions from his 13-year, $340 million contract. Why was he suspended? Testing positive for PEDs. And that's for performance-enhancing druggies. He says, I take responsibility, but I didn't know, blah, blah, blah. So the Padres need to worry about their young superstar and that $340 million contract. Leroy Satchel Paige, Walter Buck Leonard, and James Cool Papa Bell are asking what you saying. First Lady, $340 million is a lot of money. Now, it don't take $340 million for me to make sure that I ain't doing nothing that's going to impact my $340 million other than bring me some more money. And, you know, I'm looking at it now, Fernando, a bad boy, you know, he had there was a motorcycle incident. And he was asked about the motorcycle industry. He said, which one of them? You know, and I'm going, dude, that is not the right answer. You know? Which one of them? You know, because then there were others. You know, dude, you know. Come on now. You in the big leagues. You ain't in minor league. This ain't. No, dude, $340 million. You know, I think it was in football was Big Ben when he was younger player. He liked the motorcycle ride, and I think they did not like that. And immediately, you know, not too soon after, the motorcycle got retired. You know, like we leave anything where that can impact my $340 million alone. Now, how many times have you heard athletes say, well, see, I was drinking Coca-Cola and I didn't realize that that the cola bean was involved. Come on, Not, like, especially baseball. And the Padres have to worry, I think, about, one was in his head. And hopefully this will be hey, dude, wake up. You done made it to the top. You are the guy who, we invested this money in because we're looking at you being the face of the franchise. And it just ain't a good look that the, quote, face or the upcoming face of the franchise is already being looked at. Okay, you taking something? You doping? So, I almost, there was a time, maybe I'm being cynical, but there was a time when it was like, for an athlete to say, look, I take responsibility. I'm supposed to handle this. I did not. And, I'm getting what I'm getting, as far as punishment. I ain't fighting it. I did the thing. Now it's like the marketing PR people. Now, first you got to say, I take responsibility, and then in the same sentence, but no, I don't. What? It's like Deshaun Watson. Well, you know what? I really am sorry for my misbehavior. When you've been an ass all through this process. And yeah, you sorry now that you see the league really is like, you know what? No, we want a year. Now you ain't losing no, quote, money because all you were getting paid this year was $1 million, but it's still, 2 years away from a game. A game that competitive, there's an impact. Now, youngster Fernando, get your head together, boy. You got 340 million reasons to grow up. First lady, am I just being too hard on the boy?
No, you're not being hard on Fernando Tatis Jr. Definitely not, because that news of him testing positive for steroids was so devastating blow to the Padres' dreams of winning the World Series this year, because he was scheduled to come back to play. Now, and they had been celebrating because they traded for Juan Soto from the Nationals, and they thought they really had a chance to overtake the Dodgers to represent the National League in the World Series. Now, yeah, he took responsibility for his actions, Spitface. But I'm sorry, he came up with a very lame excuse of why he tested positive. He says he didn't realize he was taking that steroid because he had taken some medication to treat ringworm. Now, I don't know about you, but it seemed like somebody else had used that excuse before.
The ringworm excuse.
I have been trying to look it up, but I know somebody else had used that ringworm excuse. Because the thing is, the reason why they use the ringworm excuse, because you treat ringworms with steroids. But that's anti-inflammatory steroids. That ain't no anabolic steroids. I mean, really? You can ask any physician, that medication is not going to be in any medication that treats ringworms. It's not going to be there unless you got it some tainted off the market type of treatment. And then I wanted to know, what the hell are you having ringworms for? Do athletes get ringworms? I always thought you got ringworms. I mean, they shower a lot. They wash their hair they play 5 to 6 times a week. Wouldn't they be showering their hair? I mean, really? I don't need to say anymore. I think that's a lame excuse, ringworms. But I take responsibility. Right. Yeah. No, but he took responsibility, but he gave that lame excuse. But the thing is, too, remember, he had fractured his wrist in March. So you fracture your wrist in March. what normally happens when you have a fracture? You got to wear a cast, right? Don't you wear a cast when you fracture your arm? And usually what happens when you fracture your arm and you're wearing a cast? Your arm loses its muscle. Your arm is skinny when anybody who's worn a cast, I've never worn one, but I've seen people, my son had worn one before, his arm was skinny. So what did Tatis need to do? He need to build up muscle. And what does steroids do? Anabolic steroids? It builds up muscle. So, all I'm going to say, Tatis will be able to move forward from this excuse. It's a very lame excuse. But the thing about Tatis, you're right. He gave up a lot of. He's making a lot of money. So the question is, should the San Diego Padres be concerned? I mean, like you said, Spitface, I would be concerned. The Padres should be concerned for the short term because, as you said, he is the face of the franchise. He's their star player, and he's doing this. But he can move forward from this. Everybody who's done steroids, with the exception of Bonds and Clemens and all those people who did it in the steroid era, I don't think this is going to taint his ability to go into the World Series. We'll see, but he could definitely. The one good thing about it, like I said, from a short term, because they got to deal with all of this situation, deal with the press, and the fact that he's not going to be able to come back, so that's going to make their situation of doing well and possibly, going to the World Series, because they've already pinned him going to the World Series after they had signed Juan Soto. They're not going to be able to do that because they're going to need Tatis in order to do that. But the good thing about it is it happened to him when he was in the second year of his contract. So that big contract he signed a 14-year extension, $340 million. Last year he was only making $1 million. This year he's only making $5 million, and the next year $7 million, and the year in 2024 he'll be making $11 million. His $20 million range contract really doesn't hit until 2025, and he'll be making over $20 million for 10 years. So Padre management, they can deal with this. It's not going to affect them in the long term, and it shouldn't be a problem because he's already had the issue. He was caught. I don't care what you say. He was cheating. He got caught, and he will be able to move on from this because I don't think, if you get caught once, are you going to try to do it again? I don't think so. So I think he'll be able to move on, and the Padres should not have any concerns, Spitface.
All right. Well, okay, First Lady, you say that he done got hit on the wrist, and that was enough. 80 games, a lot of games, man. Yeah, your team looking at you all side-eyed, dude. I know it's some cold feelings in that locker room because not everybody gonna be back on that team next year. Mm. This might have, for some people, some player, this was my chance to go deep into the playoffs, and some of them been on teams where that didn't never happen. And it's like, oh, man. So, it's not just him. It's the morale of the team and what your fellow, players think of you. Dude, nobody win this game alone. So, First Lady, please take us to break.
Well, it's in the short term. All right, stay tuned. Coming up next, we have a performance from Rosalyn on Shout Out Part 1. Ringworms? Okay.
The music flows in from around the globe to get a shout-out from the panel. First Lady, I can't wait to hear the music from Rosalyn.
On Shout Out, we feature new independent artists who are looking to find their shining star. If you like what we hear, we'll give the track a shout-out. If we don't like it, we hit the mute. Today we are featuring Rosalyn from Bellevue, Washington. She says, My music is a bit R&B mixed with pop and neo-soul. The feel can be a little old school mixed with new school. I'm influenced by so much that I try to sprinkle it in my musical style. Okay, well, that sounds, okay, let's hear Rosalyn. I love the music.
So much to take in. It's the sound I wanted to begin my song. Turn the volume maximum. Turn it up high enough till it makes you bump up the pleasure of the rhythm, and you can feel when you break it down to the instrumental, quintessential in the quality of sound. Pulled over because I bump so loud. Ain't gonna stop now. Try to catch me and I'll ignore your dial. I'm hypnotized by all the lights flashing around with every move. It's so bright, it's automatic. How I raise the status of everyone around.
Loves the music. All right, well, Spitface, that song actually, I see what she's talking. It almost sounds more like an 80s songs to me. I wouldn't consider it to be an R&B. It's like dance music from the 80s. But she did say old school. She has a little taste of old school, and she mixed it in her own style. So I'm gonna shout it out. I can listen to it. I don't know if I can dance to it, but I can listen to it. I'm shouting it out. Are you? What are you shouting out? You're going to hit the mute button.
I'm going to shout it out. I thought she had some skills. And so at least I'll say, piqued my interest a little bit. And I think she does sprinkle a little bit in. But I think something to note is, I have buddies who think that fixing a gumbo means just throw a bunch of ingredients in a pot. I don't know if you have any, like people around like that, but I got a few guys who, who want to be Chef Boyardee, but that's how they think, and there's more to it. So I like that she sprinkles. She doesn't put too much seasoning in the mix. So I'm shouting it out.
Okay. That's right. You get gumbo. You just can't put everything in gumbo. I tell you, that's the truth. All right. Well, on part 2 of Shout Out, we'll have another performance from Rosalyn. Can't wait to hear what she has next. And I really want to hear the sound of our favorite underwater friend. It's time for Flip It.
All right, it's time for Flip It, where our hosts defend a point and then flip the script and defend the opposing view. Justin Fields, he of the Chicago Bears, and Trevor Lawrence, he of the Jacksonville Jaguars, are in year 2. Who will have a better season? Both of them had new coaches. They really need a new coach down in Jacksonville. I defend. Trevor had a bad coach and team his rookie season. The Jaguars have a new coach and made smart upgrades, plus they play in a weak division. He will have the better season. First Lady, given how that season was, anything is a better season. I mean, you had you had a coach who had not coached in the NFL, and obviously whatever the hell he was getting away with in college, it just didn't play well in the NFL. The coach did not rise to the occasion. And Trevor had the honor of being the number 1 selection, so he ended up going to that team. And it was not a good deal for him. But, it's hard to, I can't put the terrible team on Trevor. Trevor did not put that team together. Trevor did not bring in that coach. Trevor, hey, I'm a rookie, and I'm trying to fit in, I'm trying to fit in the NFL. And it was just horrid. And on both sides. And given all of that, he did, he showed that, hey, there's a reason you picked me number 1. I am a quality player, but man, the situation was bad. Also, he got some help. There was some, the versatile running back is coming back, and overall, the pundits expect the Jaguars to do a lot better. Now, it ain't hard to do a lot better when you was as bad as you were last year, the team overall. But I think what we're going to see is that now that they have a real NFL coach and the team is bending over backwards, to get something together. He may have I don't see them having a winning record, but I do see them having a better record than the Chicago Bears. Trevor will have the better season. First Lady, defend.
When you compare Trevor's last year's statistics to Justin's, Trevor had the better overall averages. Granted, he played 5 more games than Justin, but Trevor's numbers are better in yards, touchdowns, completion percentages. Now, Trevor Lawrence has talent and he's just too good of a prospect. He was the number 1 pick in the draft to be a bust. He is not a bust. He was surrounded by a chaotic situation with Urban Myers, as you already explained it, Spitface. I mean, it was just so chaotic with Urban Myers. I mean, how would you expect Trevor to perform? Now, his new coach, Doug Peterson, is a quarterback whisperer. During his tenure, if you remember, Carson Wentz had his best seasons when he was with Doug Peterson, and he has really looked horrible ever since. Even his last year with Peterson, he was bad. So, but still, Peterson got Wentz to where he needed to be. You know, Peterson was a quarterback in the NFL, so he should be able to put Trevor back on track. Also, the new Jaguars coaching staff, they've been in their positions for many years, whereas Justin Fields, he has to adjust to a new coaching regime. But his staff are new to their position. Matt Eberfluss, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name, Eberfluss, has never been a head coach, and their offensive coordinator, Luke Getsy, has never been an offensive coordinator. And, you know, he was with the Packers. He held a lot of positions on the offensive side with the Packers, but he was not their offensive coordinator. So it's going to be really difficult for Justin to adjust to coaching, unlike Trevor. So that's a big thing. And also, the Bears' wide receiving core was rated last, number 32 by several websites. And the Jags were a little bit better. They're at number 28. So Trevor has the ability to make his wide receivers better than they actually are. Now, Justin does not. I just don't think Justin has that ability the way Trevor does. The Jags' defense will be much better. So, you know, what does the defense have to do with Trevor Lawrence? It has a lot to do with Trevor Lawrence because the Jags' defense was so poor last year. They gave up so many points that the offense was already at a disadvantage, and they was at a disadvantage with a young quarterback that felt he needed to make big plays for them to get back in the game. So with the defense being much better and being able to hold the offense of the other team, Trevor Lawrence won't feel so pressed. And he should be able to show people why he was the number 1 pick, and he will have a much better season than Justin Fields.
All right. So, you know that this is flipping, so we're going to flip the script and defend. Justin had a bad coach and a mediocre team his rookie season. The Bears have a new coach and made some smart upgrades. Justin will have the better season. You know, last season, Justin, one of the biggest mistakes that the Bears head coach made was not starting Justin Fields right away, so that he would have a full season to develop. And they knew what they had. They already knew what they had. And instead said, hey, we're going to try all the we're not going to put him in. We need to protect, whatever the reason. They should have had him start so that he could have gotten, that NFL experience that's so critical. Plus, working, getting practice time. Because when you're the number 2 or the number 3, you don't get the practice time because the starter need all of that. And so that was just like he didn't even, really get a chance to develop and show and mature into what he did until They finally bring him in when, hey, it's all disarray anyway. Now, but he got in the reps. And I think one of the things that's going to be an advantage is he didn't take the punishment that Trevor Lawrence took. He didn't get all them sacks. And, there's an aspect Trevor is like, will you be hearing footsteps and seeing ghosts? Given your first season was the way it was, where you had to. Now, the other thing is that Trevor may be, quote, the better passer, but Justin playing up in that NFC North, I don't care if you Aaron Rodgers, you need to be able to duck and dodge at some point because them defenses will be coming. And given that Justin has the legs and the arm, so he has the potential to do more damage, statistically Trevor may look better, but Justin will have the Bears a game or two, 1 or 2 wins better than the Jaguars. So it's all about winning and losing. So if your team win more, you had the better season than the team that did not. And Trevor may have great stats, but if his team doesn't have the same number of wins, then the other quarterback had the better season. First Lady, please defend.
Even though Trevor had better overall stats, Justin had a better passing rating and less interceptions than Trevor, which are really key statistics for a quarterback play. Justin doesn't have to be great, unlike Trevor Lawrence, because Justin was only the 11th pick in the draft. In fact, he was the 4th quarterback chosen. Justin will have a better year because he also has the ability to run. I mean, he's a dual threat. He can play like Jackson. He can play like Jackson on the Ravens, but the one thing that he can do better than Jackson, he can throw the ball, throw the passing. He passes much better than Jackson. So so I give that to Justin. He's more of a dual threat than Trevor Lawrence. And, yes, they have inexperienced coaches. The Bears definitely have inexperienced coaches. But similar to what you're saying, Spitface, I'm going to piggyback off of that. These coaches will put Justin in a better situation than Nagy did last year because he wasn't fighting for his, Nagy was fighting for his job. And that's the reason why he didn't start Justin. He wasn't comfortable with starting a rookie because he was worrying about his job, which he lost anyway. But the coach now, Everfluss, he's not fighting for his job. I mean, he at least has 2 years to prove that he can do this, and he's going to make sure that he utilizes Justin Fields' best attributes as a quarterback. And that's the difference of what happened last year. They didn't do that for Justin. And the Bears, also have improved their offensive line, so they will be able to run the football much better than they did last year, which will also assist Justin in his growth as a quarterback. So overall, Justin, he wasn't too far behind Trevor's stats last year. It wasn't like Trevor really outplayed Justin. It's just like I said, he played more games. So Justin will have a better year because he no longer has to worry whether he will be the starting quarterback because he will be the man in Chicago. And with him being the man in Chicago and not having the same stress that Trevor's going to have as being the number one pick, Justin will definitely have a better season than Trevor Lawrence.
All right. Justin will have the better season. First Lady, please take us to break.
Stay tuned. Up next, butt kicking and our favorite underwater friend on Flip It Part 2. Welcome back. You are still listening to Bras, Panties and Sports. We have a new segment we call Butt Kicking. Butt Kicking looks at all things in the world of combat sports. All right. Gotti Yamauchi. Not Yamauchi. Is that how you pronounce that name? Yamauchi versus Neiman Gracie. Yamauchi has the record for submissions, while his opponent, Gracie, is number 2 with submissions. Yamauchi has 28 wins with 21 by submission. Gracie has 11 wins, 9 by submission. The pair of jiu-jitsu specialists turned in a striking battle for as long as it lasted on Friday night in South Dakota. Gotti Yamauchi dazzled with an uppercut knockout of Neiman Gracie. Spitface, has Bellator solved the competition problem because they can draw talent globally and produce big pay events?
Bellator is making money. Them boys and the combat, they have figured out how to make money, and the reason is that they really let talent rise, and they try to mix it up as opposed to, you know how in boxing you have like the top tier boxers, and they steadily don't fight the competitive. You know, they want to build up fight. We need a tune-up fight and all of that so that, you know, they can like there have been champions who, you know, sat on the belt for a year. And you don't have that with Bellator and its competitors. They put folks out. And then I think the other thing is, other than, I dare say, the Olympics, where everybody will watch a certain type of event. And what they've been able to do is that, because Yamauchi and Gracie they're not from the U.S. I think they're both from Brazil. And for an American audience in South Dakota to pay for that event, to be there, to see that event, you know, really says, hey, they're bringing that competition where people want to see that competition. They don't care if it's a U.S., if it's a Brazilian, somebody from Norway. They just want to see the competition. So I think they've done a good job at being able to market their talent, and I think boxing may need to take some notes. You know, I'm still one of those old-fashioned boxing fans, but they need to bring, you know, like boxing, which has always, quote, been an international. U.S. audiences were not tuning in to, let's say, see a boxing match of two athletes, two boxers where neither one of them were from the U.S. You know, that's not hey, you know, like, okay, who we know fighting, unless it's like Olympics or like in the Olympics. Then that's what you know. But Bellator and its buddies have really come up with a formula where, hey, an American audience will watch, and if you bring them here, we'll go pay to see them. So I got to hand it to them. And boxing, learn some lessons. That's what comes to mind for me. Now, the other thing is, First Lady, submissions is, in many ways, equal to a knockout. You know, if you look at it, because when you throw, like in boxing, if they throw in the towel, you know, that's considered a knockout. So you go 28 with 21 of them, and also submission means the guy tapped out. No, you got. I'm like, man. Now his opponent was pretty effective with them. You know, you go, hey, you got 9, but the way the fight went, I didn't see the fight. I saw clips, and Yamuchi said, you know what? He said, I have learned that I need to be like Money Mayweather. And I'm like, oh, yeah, really? And no, this is what he said. I said, I need to be like Money Mayweather. I want to make some money. So he started going, bam. And so, oh, I got to do I could submit you. Everybody thought it was going to be a wrestling match. Oh, no, bam. You know, and I put it like this. Gracie, Yamuchi did a Rocky. And he did a Rocky 3. And, you know, in Rocky 3, you had Clubber Lane, you know, and he was kicking Rocky's butt. And then all of a sudden Rocky said, forget all the dance and this and that. Bam, yeah, hit me. Bam, you know. And they said, oh, he just getting mad. Oh, that's all. And Yamuchi, it was pretty much like that. Gracie was bam, bam, and Yamuchi was like, yeah, hit me some more. Okay, I ain't worried. All right, and then bam. You know, so it was interesting. It was interesting.
Well, you know, I didn't watch Bellator. Matter of fact, my son, he has me in UFC, and you know, Bellator is actually, you know, to be honest with you, MMA fighting is actually gaining more fans than boxing in general. But Bellator, you know, you're very high on Bellator, but Bellator is second fiddle to the UFC. Now, the UFC have better fighters than the Bellator does, but I can see the Bellator people, the fighters, have a little bit more control as to how much they make, even though most of the time the Bellator fighters make less than the MMA than the UFC fighter, because we all know the UFC fighters, you know, they usually they make a lot more. I think it's a minimally of $10,000, whereas Bellator fighters can make up to $1,500. But now, so Bellator is on the rise, but it still not has supplanted the UFC. The UFC still is the number one MMA promotions around. Now, when you're talking about the submission, all I can think about with all them submissions, that they are spending most of the time on the mat. In order to get a submission, you got to be on the mat. So they're grappling a lot. Now, most people don't want to see no grappling. They want to see the strikers. So it was interesting that he did win by a knockout versus a submission, but I really don't like when they do this. I mean, submission is fine, but the problem with submission that they just stay on the mat too much for me. You know, it's too much. The fight is on the mat, and most people, when you want to see MMA, you do want to see a combination of them grappling, but also you want to see them striking. So that's the only thing about people who do. You know, when you think about it. 21 by submission, that's a lot of time. He's spending most of the time on the ground. So I'm surprised that he won by striking him out. But anyway, I do prefer UFC compared to Bellator. So, but, you know, they're on the rise. You know, but it's time for our favorite underwater friend. It's time for Flip It. Arguably, Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady are the big dogs in the NFC. But which one will have the better season? Panel defend. Aaron Rodgers will have an MVP season, and his team will battle in the playoffs. He will have the better season. Tampa Bay must figure out how to beat the Saints. Spitface defend.
You know, the Saints have beat Tampa Bay 7 straight times. So that's when you start going, wait. Now they might have Tampa Bay's number. Now, there's nobody in the NFC North that has beat the Green Bay Packers 7 times. that ain't happened under Aaron Rodgers. And, Aaron Rodgers has been having MVP seasons. I mean, it seems like what season isn't he in contention? And even though I go Russell Wilson got overlooked, but but what season ain't he in contention? I think that what's going to happen is that Aaron Rodgers, that there is going to be a strategy in Tampa Bay so that they can preserve the GOAT over the long haul. So any little nick, bruise, Brady's toenail, they might throw in the second guy right away. Look, just get in there that you heal up. Because, this is the we're going to do well in the regular season, but it's the playoffs we want him. Okay. Now, Aaron going to be in every game. And I think Aaron Rodgers has a definite chip on his shoulder. A definite chip. And he sees, hey, I want another Super Bowl ring. I want another Super. We got new. I like everything. I like everything on this team. My team is a better team this year, on paper than last year. But we got to get over the hump. So I just kind of looking at Aaron Rodgers and that big chip. Tom Brady, he the GOAT. He a competitor. But Aaron Rodgers, this is his year. He is hungry. And that's what's going to make him and the Packers have a better season.
All right. He's hungry. Okay. Well, Aaron may have lost Davante Adams, but Aaron has had less before and won a championship. Aaron Rodgers is still considered the best, most dynamic quarterback in the league. If he is healthy, he can win the MVP. Aaron always has an advantage because he plays in the weak NFL North, so he's always going to be in the playoffs. Whereas Brady, Brady has some issues this year. He has a new coach, a new head coach. Even though he has the same coordinator, he still has a new coach that can impact his ability to win. His center is out for the season, so he has to work with a new center. And he took 10 days away from training camp. I mean, it makes you wonder, is Brady's heart really in competing this year? Doesn't seem that way. And I don't think he's ever left training camp for a non-injury before. So it's about Aaron Rodgers. Aaron definitely wants to win. He came to camp in his white T-shirt and his jeans, looking like he was ready to go. His first day coming to the training camp, and Aaron, he's working hard. He has the new contract, and like you said, he has to prove himself. He has to prove that he is the better quarterback, even though he won last year. But there's a lot of concerns about Aaron Rodgers. They feel because he took all this money like he didn't deserve it. I mean, yes, Brady has always taken less money for the betterment of the team, but Rodgers decided, no, it's going to be selfish. He said, I'm going to be selfish this year. I'm taking the money. So he is going to have to play like he's got a chip on his shoulder, like you said, because people are looking at the fact that he took all that money, and that's why Davante Adams left. So he doesn't have Davante Adams, but he still can make any wide receiver the best, and I just think that he's going to be able to do it. And like you said, Spitface, Tampa Bay, they have a hard time beating the Bucs, But Aaron doesn't really have any competition in his division, not at all. He doesn't have any at all. So he's going to be the league MVP. He's going to be back-to-back MVP. All right, but this is Flip It. So I'm sorry. this is flippant, so let's go to the opposite point of view. Panel defend. The GOAT doesn't care about no MVP. It's all about his favorite ring. The next one, Brady will have a better season. All right, Spitface defend.
Tom Brady said, I don't need no stinking MVP. I want my favorite ring, the next one. Now, I know that the GOAT has found that fountain of youth in Florida that Ponce de Leon never found. He has found that fountain of youth. Now, I don't know if that's that stuff he be selling, but hey, something is working for Tom Brady. Something is working for him. And Aaron Rodgers may get the MVP, but his team will not get a Super Bowl ring. And that is the thing, is that they'll be just good enough. They might even make it to the Super Bowl, but no ring for the Green Bay Packers, because the GOAT still got tricks up his sleeve. And I think there's some benefits. The new coach for the Buccaneers is a coach that's already there. And just like Arians said, hey, you know what? Let me listen to the guy with 4-5 Super Bowl rings about what we should be doing. And I think Brady won't have Gronk, but he has other players that, it's about time to let them boys fly. And he has some I'll say that he doesn't have any players that have mysterious issues. I'll just say, where they have to be kicked off the team, So actually, I think this is a mellow year where they can make that leap and be back in the big game and win it. So Aaron Rodgers may be the MVP of the league, but the GOAT has a better chance of being the MVP of the Super Bowl and will have a better season. That's all I'm saying.
All right, he has a chance of having a better season. But you want to know something? Even though Brady doesn't really care about the winning the MVP, the wise guys do, because they think Brady will have a better chance of winning the MVP than Aaron Rodgers. Brady's at a plus 800, Rodgers at a plus 1,000. But we know he doesn't care about those MVPs. He cares about winning Super Bowls. Brady has 7 rings. And I forgot how many times Brady been to the Super Bowl. Rodgers has only been to the Super Bowl one time in 2011. Spitface, 2011. That's 11 years ago. 11 years ago, Rodgers has only been to the Super Bowl that one time. He won, but he has never been back to the big dance. At least Brady's been there and won 7, but he's been there more than 7 times. We know he lost a couple of them. So I mean, that just tells you something. Brady knows how to get the rings, and he knows how to be in the situation to get a ring. Whereas Rodgers, for some reason, he hasn't been able to do it. Has not been able to do it. And I don't care what anybody say. Him losing Devontae Adams is going to be a big issue for Aaron Rodgers. We're going to really see how great Aaron Rodgers is, because I guess Devontae Adams wants to show people too, because he believes he made Aaron Rodgers. So his last couple of years, definitely, that was his go-to guy all the time. But Brady has such a better arsenal of weapons to throw to. He has his receiving core, which is probably the number 1 receiving core in the NFL. You got Chris Godwin is coming off an injury. He's coming back. Even though Gronk is gone, You still got Mike Evans. You have, I forget who else. You just got a lot of players that can catch the ball in Tampa Bay. And I just think, like you said, overall, the team is much better than the Green Bay Packers. And the Packers, even though they're in a weak division, they basically get to the playoffs as a matter of a default. But see, that's the issue. They don't have that competition when they get into the playoffs, and that's why they're always losing recently, in recent times. I mean, I just really thought about that. 11 years. That's a long time for someone not to get to the Super Bowl and constantly is always being called one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. I mean, I don't think so at this point in time that we can put Rodgers in that category, because I think to be honest with you, the fact that he's only been there one time, that's not enough. There's a lot of quarterbacks that been to the Super Bowl one time and won. A lot of quarterbacks. So Rodgers got to live up to his current status. But Tom Brady, he doesn't care about the MVP. Like you said, he's looking for that ring. He's looking for that next one. All right, Spitface, please take us to break.
All right, on the other side of the break, we have another performance from Rosalyn on Shout Out Part 2. Please, please, stay tuned.
Welcome back. The music flows from around the globe to get a shout-out from the crew. Spitface, over to you.
All right, First Lady, we're going to see what this young lady, Rosalyn, can do. We have another performance. DJ, let's hear, anyone else but you. Oh, but...
Wait a minute, listen to the words that are coming from your mouth. Nor can I can't believe that you caused us to down. I thought you loved me. You know I really thought you cared. But little did I know, you're the one who knows all of my business that you share. Anyone else, I'd move along. But because it's you, the hurt is so strong. I'd no longer be the same. Even if we talk and talk it all day, I can imagine what others may say. I can't go back and change their ways. It don't hurt like that except for anyone. I can manage what others may say. I can't go back and change their ways. 'Cause it don't hurt like that except for anyone else but you. Someone you love. No, it's not that easy. It's not so easy when you don't have no good to show. 'Cause you don't know how it's been so long since you've taken time to give the positive good. The negative should. It should make you want to turn things around. I will give you help if you want it. I'll be the first, to start it. I'll be happier and it will make my life so much easier to manage. I can't manage what others may say. I can't go back and change.
anyone else but you. First Lady, are you feeling it?
Yeah, I actually like that one better than I did the first one. I'm definitely shouting that out. She has a very nice voice. I think it comes out much better on the slow song, and I very, very nice. Definitely shouting that out.
Rosalyn, baby, you got some skills. I am shouting it out, too. I just got to hear the track again because I'm not sure if it's like nobody else can feel the space but you, or you kicking them to the curb. So I ain't really quite straight on that. So I'm going to check it out. But I'm shouting it out. The girl got mad skills. That is the end of shout-out. If you like what you heard from Rosalyn, check her out at Roz, R-O-Z, music site.com and Old Grumpy Radio Network. If you would like to be heard or have any comments, please send your emails and tracks to content@oldgrumpyradio.com. First Lady, over to you.
It's time for the hardball picks, and we have the results from last week. Okay. Last week was quite interesting. Spitface, you won with 100,000 points. Dizzy Mac and myself, we had 0 points. And Spitface, I want to let you know, you won 2 of your pushes. I mean, you had picked 2 pushes, and you won both of those pushes.
Push.
Yeah. So right now, the grand total as of today, Dizzy Mac and we have 150,000 points, and Spitface, you were at negative 200. Now you're at negative 100. So, again, the race is very close as usual. So let's get to the current picks. We got hardball picks and we got the pigskin picks. All right. So our over and under, Toronto, 65 wins. I'm going to say under. Spitface.
I'm gonna go with over.
Yeah, I don't even know where they are. So this is truly, you say over, okay, and I say under. We'll get Dizzy Max later. All right, the Twins, 62 wins. Spitface.
Push. All
right, I'm going to say over. 52 wins. 62 wins, I'm going to say over. And you say push. All right, Mariners. 64 wins. All right, I'm going to go with under. Spitface.
Push.
You pushing, huh? Push. Braves, 71 wins. Spitface.
Over.
All right. I'm going to go with over. Brewers, 62 wins. Let me see. Spitface.
Under.
I'm going to go with over. I'm definitely going to go with over. Padres, 67 wins. Spitface.
Under.
Okay. You said for the Brewers, you said over or under?
For the Brewers, under.
Under. Okay, you said. And I said over. I can't remember what I said. I said over for the Brewers. And okay, so the Padres, you said under?
Under.
Yeah, I'm going to go with under, too, because the Tatis is just too overwhelming for them. All right, pigskin picks. Props. Okay, these are negative and positive 50,000s. All right, games with a pick 6. 3. Oh, well, I'm definitely going under on that one. Spitface?
Under.
Yeah, that's a little bit easy. Games with a block kick. Spitface, over or under?
This is preseason. I'm going to go with a push.
I'm going to go with under, and you're going with a push. Games with a fumble. So you have 4 games with a fumble. I hope our assistants can find these games. I guess they'll be okay. Games with a fumble. I'm going to 4 games with a fumble. I don't even know how many games they're playing. I'm going to say under. Spitface?
I'm going to go with over.
Okay, over. And finally, games with 0 interceptions. You have 3 games with 0 interceptions. Spitface, I'll start with you.
Over.
Over, yeah, I'm going to go with over. There's usually more interceptions. Okay, so that's where we are. That's with our football and our hardball. We'll see how we do next week. Spitface, what is your top story to watch this week?
The ruling the NFL will have on one Deshaun Watson, who was 1 for 5 in his preseason debut.
Well, I had the same thing. I said the appeal ruling for Deshaun Watson should be announced. So I'm not even going to try to come up with something else. So that's what I have said. That's what it's going to be. All right. I just want to give 2 kudos to 2 people that are retiring from the WNBA. That's Sylvia Fowles, a former MVP, and the WNBA all-time leading rebounder. She's going to retire at the end of the season. She's played 8 straight seasons for the Lynx, and she had a 15-year NBA career, and so she's retiring. And of course, the one and only Sue Bird is also retiring, and she's had a historic career. She's played over 22 years, I believe, in the WNBA. She's 41 years old. She's played a long time. She was first of 3 times leading league in assists per game. She's been on the all-decade team. She's won 2 gold medals with the women's Team USA. My gosh, there's so many accomplishments of her. Actually, I said 2. She's won. Let me double check. She's won 4 Olympic gold medals. Let me change that. She's in 2017. She became the all-time assist leader in the WNBA. What did she did? She said she received her 3rd title in 2018, and in 2020 she received a record 4th title. No one has won more titles than Sue Bird, and 2021 was the record-setting her 5th Olympic gold medal, and she topped it off. She had over 3,000 assists. So my goodness, like I said, it's a historic career for Sue Bird, and we definitely will miss both Sue Bird and Sylvia Fowles. They definitely are a true version of women empowerment. Join us in October as we honor our veteran women and veteran women with disabilities. To learn more, please visit honorourveteranwomen.com. Check out our current and previous episodes at Bras Panties and Sports.com and our Facebook page, BP and Sports. This is Cheryl Smith, the First Lady of Sports Talk, and Spitface. You have been listening to Bras, Panties, and Sports. See you next week.